What up, guys? GangstaPranksta here, bringing a new episode of the weekly wrestling review. Welcome back. If you're new to the show, this is where we talk everything about professional wrestling, from news, reviews to predictions. We talk about it all, so if you're a fan of professional wrestling, welcome to the show. On today's show, we're going to have reviews for 2 weeks with the RAW, SmackDown, Impact, NXT, Ring of Honor, some wrestling news, Total Divas. We're going to have a review for Survivor Series. And yeah, so we got a jam-packed show, lots of stuff to talk about. I'm slowly catching up on all the stuff that I'm missing. I know Royal Rumble is just around the corner, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and rush out the next episode. I'm going to try and do it before the Royal Rumble so I can kind of squeeze in my predictions on the next episode, because I do want to do my predictions for that, because the Royal Rumble is like one of my most favorite pay-per-views ever, so I'm going to do that. And I know that Batista's in there, and Brock Lesnar, so it's going to be a good show, and I can't wait. But we're not talking about Royal Rumble right now, as much as I'd like to. We're talking about, we're not even talking about Survivor Series. We're talking about okay, so it's going to be the week leading up to Survivor Series, and then the week after Survivor Series, so that's like the time frame that we're in. So let's talk about the first thing. First we got Raw. This was Raw Country, and Raw Country was an interesting episode. You know, they had the whole country theme because they were in Nashville, I think. Yeah, it was Nashville because Ziggler did the whole guitar thing, and then they're like, oh, Jeff Jarrett. So, you know, they promoted the Florida-Georgia line to perform and all that stuff. And there was a couple things that happened on the show that I want to talk about, some big stuff. First, we had Langston winning the IC title from Curtis Axel. The match I thought sucked, honestly. I thought it was way too short for a title change. Like, it was literally like a 5-minute match, and then bam, title change. I wish it was a longer match, so it like actually meant something, but it just seemed like Langston, I don't remember if he beat up Curtis Axel the whole match, then got the pin, or he got beat up, made the comeback, win. But I would have liked a more competitive match for these two. But they had another match, Survivor Series. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Oh, I want to talk about this. Okay, so they had a segment on the show, musical chairs. They had all the divas in there, and they did musical chairs. And then you know, couple girls got eliminated, and then it turned into a huge brawl. And they're actually using this storyline right here, this musical chairs, as a way to set up a match as Survivor Series. I thought that was so ridiculous. Like, okay, so they got into an argument in musical chairs, and that's gonna lead to a match at Survivor Series. If that's not the most ridiculous build-up to a match I've ever heard, I don't know what the fuck is. But a game of musical chairs, it went wrong. Big fight. Now they're gonna have a big match at a pay-per-view. Does that not sound retarded? I don't know. I was like, what the fuck? Whatever. What else do we got? Miz turned heel on Kofi Kingston. I'm glad. I really hate babyface Miz. I'm better with heel Miz. And so that's a good thing. Oh, here's another thing I want to talk about. The whole Vicky. Okay, so this is the episode after the after the whole UK thing, and the Authority wasn't there, and stuff happened with Randy Orton and blah 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 blah. So Maddox, he had a match with Orton earlier, whatever, and then they put Vicky in a match with AJ. And this was around the time where AJ fainted. She passed out at a live event, and I think she was dehydrated, or she hadn't drank or whatever, or overheated, whatever. She passed out in the middle of a match. And someone asked me about this on Universe, and they said, hey, what do you think about WWE making fun of AJ's passing out on Raw? And I didn't watch it at the time, so I'm like, oh, let me know what they did, and I'll tell you if it's bad or not. And he's like, oh, they just made fun of her or whatever. And WWE usually does that, so I was like, oh, it's probably no big deal. Whatever. The way the guy described it to me, it seemed very nonchalant and not really a big deal. But now that I've actually had time to see it, holy shit, I was offended. They completely made fun of her. And it was like fucked up. They went above and beyond trying to like make this a point and just make fun of AJ. And you could see her in the ring. She was sitting on the ropes, watching Vicky like pass out or whatever, and she was just, that look on her face, she was like, what a bunch of assholes in this company, like, what a bunch of jerks. And I felt the same way. I was just like, wow, that's really, really tasteless. Like, oh man, just cause it would have been fine if they did it a little bit, but they above and beyond, and then they kept going and going and going, and they didn't stop, and it was, I don't know, I was like really like, whoa, that's too much, you know. I don't mind them doing it, but this was actually a lot much, but yeah, holy shit, this was this was a lot worse than what somebody told me. But yeah, this was pretty bad. What else do we got? Oh, we had the debut of Xavier Woods. I think this was his debut. Let me just double check. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was. Okay, so this was the debut of Xavier Woods. I wasn't a big fan how they just kind of brought him out. You know, there was really no build-up. Like, you know, we had the Matadors debut like a couple months ago, and they had huge build-up. You know, they promo package, and finally they made their big debut. And then with Xavier Woods, he just kind of came out with our truth. Like, okay, like, here I am, I'm here, I'm my big debut, and it was just, it kind of fell flat in that sense. But I thought he had a decent match. They teamed up to take on 3MB, which is fine. And yeah, I just thought it was kind of like lame the way they introduced him. They could have even introduced something in a backstage segment, like introduce him that way, but they might have done something on the WWE app for all I know. So maybe they did, but I don't look at all that shit. I watch whatever's on my TV, and they didn't do any stuff with him. So that was kind of a letdown. But Xavier Woods, now part of the WWE roster, he's going to be teaming up with R-Truth going into the future. I don't know if they're still teaming up, but I know they're going to be putting a feud with Brodus Clay, and Brodus Clay is going to be turning heel. So we'll see how that's going to go. We'll talk about that more on SmackDown because that's when it took place. But good to see Xavier Woods. And I do think it's a good spot for him to team with R-Truth. Because, one, he gets the rub off R-Truth because the fans love R-Truth. So the fans are going to love Xavier Woods. Two, if they had him as a singles wrestler, he would get lost so bad. Like, he would fucking appear and disappear as quick as he came. So I'm glad they're sticking him in a tag team. That's good. And I think I was going to say something else. Yeah, if he came in as a singles wrestler, I don't think it would have worked as well. But the fact that they're putting him in tag team, that is good. And I think they have more potential like this. What else? The main event was the Shield and the Wyatts teaming up to take on Cody, Goldust, Usos, Daniel Bryan, and CM Punk. Good match. Babyfaces win. This is a good way to end the show. They've been ending the show a lot with the Wyatts and Daniel Bryan and CM Punk and the tag team, you know, Cody, Goldust, Usos, the Shield. Like, I like that the tag teams are main eventing. They're kind of outshining the bigger angles, like the whole Big Show Randy Orton feud. That stuff's usually in the beginning. You'd think that was like a main event segment that would end the show, but no, they're going with the Wyatts and the Shield and Daniel Bryan, CM Punk. So I guess they have a lot of faith in Daniel Bryan. I mean, not that much faith because they would have the WWE title on him, but enough faith to still main event without him having the title on him. So that's kind of shitty, though. We'll talk about that at Survivor Series. It's like how Daniel Bryan's on the title picture and all that stuff. So yeah, we'll save that for later. Next we had NXT. I don't think there's anything I want to talk about. Yeah, there's nothing I want to talk about here. I think there's something I want to talk about on the next episode. Anyways, next we got TNA Impact. This was the episode. What happened on this episode? I don't know. Oh, this is where Storm got attacked in a bar by Bobby Roode, and it led to like a match to continue, whatever. what happened on the show. There's a couple things I want to talk about. Samuel Shaw, they aired a promo for him during the show, and you know, he was getting interviewed by Christy Hemme in his apartment, whatever. And then you know, they got her number and blah blah blah, and then so his character is supposed to be that of a serial killer. And Christy Hemme is gonna be involved. I don't know. I already have my reservations about this angle. You know, what is this gonna lead to in the end? This whole angle, especially this character. I don't know if it's gonna work. I don't know. There's more question. I have a lot of questions, and I just don't think it's gonna go very well. I just want to know what is going to be the end game for this whole angle. Is he gonna end up killing Christy Hemme? Is he gonna kill every guy that looks at Christy Hemme? Like, what is going to be this whole thing? Like, I don't get it. But I like Samuel Shaw. I think it's pretty interesting that they're putting like this whole serious gimmick on him, because when he was in Gut Check, he was more like this fun, outgoing, high flyer and stuff, and now he's going to be a more methodical killer. And yeah, so there's that. I know he wrestled a match recently. I actually saw the match. He wears a lot of clothes, way too much clothing for. He's gonna die of heat stroke during a match. If he ever wrestles like Kurt Angle in that, then he's gonna fucking pass out from heat. It's crazy. Take off a shirt or something. Take off a couple layers before you pass the fuck out. But what else do we got? We had Shark Boy make his return to TNA. Sadly, it was only for one night, and he lost to Ethan Carter. I'm kind of sad about that. I like the angle that they did promoting his return. They did it on their YouTube page where he was working in a pizzeria. He's like, "Oh, I got the call back to TNA," but he's like, "I'm quitting." He's like, "All right, I'm not quitting because I don't think this is gonna work out, so I'm gonna come back." It was funny, but yeah, I would like to see Shark Boy on a more regular basis, man. I think he'd be decent for the X Division. Just a fun character to have around on the roster. But Ethan Carter demolished him, and that was about it. And the main event, the big main event for this show was Bully Ray versus Mr. Anderson, no DQ match. It was a good match. Anderson wins, and if Anderson won, the Aces and Eights had to disband, and if Bully Ray won, Mr. Anderson had to retire. I don't know why they do this retire angle, because about 0 out of 10 times the guy never loses and retires. It happened once, and that was with Ric Flair, and then he came back and wrestled. So the angle, the whole thing sucks. So yeah, you know Mr. Anderson was going to win. They've done this shit multiple times in TNA. If you lose, you're going to retire. They've done that a bunch of times to Sting. They did it a couple to Kurt Angle, and it's just a really stupid gimmick because no one really believes that they're going to lose and retire. So, that was that. Next we got SmackDown, but I honestly think there's nothing I want to talk about on SmackDown. Oh, I don't think I talked about this on Raw. The main events. Another thing that happened on Raw after the whole main events with the Wyatts and the Shields and Cody Goldust and all those guys. After the match, Rey Mysterio made his return. Good to see Ray back on WWE. I'm actually super excited to watch him. He's kind of one of those guys that I've kind of lost interest in over time because he's got injured so many times. You know, he comes back, he's injured. He comes back, gets injured, out for like a year, and then he comes back for a couple months, injured again, blah blah blah. So hopefully, and there was already reports like after his return he was injured again, like he was limping or whatever. So that was kind of unfortunate. I don't think he suffered any big injuries. But yeah, Rey Mysterio back in WWE. Super excited about that to see what they do with him. They have him in a lot of tag team matches. I guess they're not confident in him working by himself yet. And they're just sticking him in this tag team matches where he can wrestle for a few minutes, and then, you know, maybe if his knee gets sore, bam, tagging somebody else, and then bam. So that's that. I want to talk about something real quick. Luke Harper, well, not Luke Harper specifically, the Wyatt family. They've had a lot of matches on Raw and SmackDown in the past couple weeks, and usually it's Luke Harper wrestling all these matches. You know, wrestles Punk, Bryan, whoever. I would like to see Eric Rowan get a couple of these matches. I mean, I like Luke Harper, don't get me wrong. I think he's great. But, you know, I'd like to see Eric Rowan kind of wrestle in these singles matches, see how well he does. Compared to, I guess Luke Harper might be the better of the two if he's always going to put in these matches. But, yeah, just a small little thing. I'd like to see Eric Rowan a little bit more as a singles wrestler. Not, like, separate himself, but, like, if there's a match, you know, let Eric Rowan wrestle it instead of Luke Harper. But Luke Harper has great matches. He's had good matches with Punk and Bryan in singles wrestling. And I really like that discus clothesline. Everything he does just looks so brutal. And I think he does a really good job of the whole Wyatt family character. Like, yeah. Just like, it's fucking crazy, you know. Everything he does looks just so brutal. The big boot to the face, that clothesline. He just really looks like he's beating the shit out of everybody in the ring. And he might be. He might actually be beating the shit out of everybody. But if not, then he does this shit very well. So yeah, nothing I want to talk about on SmackDown. Next we got Ring of Honor. Nothing I want to talk about. It was just they were showing matches from Glory by Honor 11. So if you didn't watch it, watch that. Next we got Survivor Series. Okay, here we go. Survivor Series was a pretty good pay-per-view. It was a bit of a letdown for their biggest show of the year. There's a couple things that wasn't a big fan of. We'll talk about that in a second. But actually, let's go through the show, and then we'll talk about what I liked and what I didn't like. So our first match was Rey Mysterio, the Usos, Cody Rhodes, and Goldust taking on the Real Americans and the Shield in a 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match. This was a good match. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a solid opener. The Shield and Real Americans win. Stupid booking, though, on the part of WWE. So you turn the heels into baby faces by having Rollins and Roman Reigns take on the baby faces 5-on-2. So Dean Ambrose got eliminated first, and then Swagger, and then Antonio Cesaro, and then it was 5 baby faces versus 2 heels? What? That doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever. You're turning the heels into baby faces, and the Usos even kind of did some heel stuff, and I was like, what? That's retarded. But yeah, anyways, you know, Roman Reigns, he ended up eliminating like 4 people and won it for his team. Well, Seth Rollins eliminated 1, and then Roman's eliminated the other 4. And yeah, I think the Shield are on their last legs. They're trying to make Roman look like the standouts of the group, and then they're probably going to use that to break up the team, saying, oh, you know, look how impressive Roman is. Look, he eliminated 4 people. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the Royal Rumble and he eliminates more people than, like, the record's Kane for 11 eliminations. I wouldn't be surprised if they have Roman Reigns eliminate 12 people, just to smash the record. So it looks like they have a lot of big plans for Roman Reigns. You know, there's been reports that the company's really high on him and Biggie Langston, and yeah, I don't know. I have my reservations. I like Roman, but I don't know if he's that guy, like the guy for WWE. I don't see him as a main eventer. I don't know. That's just me. You know, I'll have to wait and see more, but I think people are jumping on the Roman Reigns bandwagon fairly quickly. And I'm not taking anything away. I think he has a nice spear. I think he has awesome matches. Like I said, I just don't know if he's that guy. I'll probably be proven wrong. Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. But, yeah, I think people are investing too much. We'll just have to wait and see, like I said. So, yeah, anyways, Romans and Rollins carry their team. Next, we got Curtis Axel versus Biggie Langston in the IC title match. This is pretty good. It was a Raw match, basically. It went like 6-7 minutes, and Biggie ended up retaining his title. Next, we have Total Divas versus True Divas, 7-on-7 elimination match. Survivor Series elimination match. This went on forever. It's sad when your Divas match is longer than your main event. I think that's pretty crazy. I know they have 14 Divas in a match, but it was whatever. It was pretty blah. There's a lot of sloppy stuff in the match, and it just wasn't very good to watch. And then it went on forever, which didn't help it any bit, so that kind of sucked even more. The best thing about this match is when Eva Marie stepped in the ring, they booed the shit out of her, and I'm like, yeah, buddy, booed the shit out of her. It was awesome. And yeah, who won? Total Divas won, and yeah, Eva Marie just looks clueless out there, like she really does. And we'll talk more about Eva Marie during Total Divas, because Eva Marie, you know, being so talented that she is, she tried her hand at ring announcing, and we'll talk about that later. So yeah, that sucked. Next we have Ryback comes out, issues an open challenge. Rick Ross accepts. Mark Henry, and it was Mark Henry versus Ryback. It was okay at best. Ryback won, or Henry won, my bad. And yeah, so Henry's back. He has a new look, shaved head, big beard. Looks like Rick Ross. He really does. Like, it's pretty uncanny how much they look similar, but yeah, he's back. Nothing much to say about. He's the guy like Mysterio. He's injured. He's back. He's injured. He's back. It's hard to care about him. So yeah, he's back. Next we got John Cena versus Del Rio in a World Heavyweight Title match. Good match. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a solid wrestling match. Went on. They had a good amount of time, and it was just a really good back and forth match. Cena ended up winning and retaining his World Heavyweight Title against Del Rio. And that's about it. Next we got CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, the Beard and the Best, I think is the name of the team, taking on the Wyatt family. Good match. Punk and Bryan win. They had a good back and forth tag team match. I enjoyed this. And that's about it. There's nothing much to say. I just had a good match. The feud's pretty much... Well, no, feud's not over. The feud's kind of taking a different direction, but it just seemed kind of weird for this like whole match to happen in the first place. Just seemed really thrown together, and then you come to find out that it really was thrown together and just pretty random. But it turned out to be good. I didn't think anything less. I thought it was going to be good, and yeah, my expectations were met. And then we had the main event. Randy Orton versus The Big Show for the WWE title. It was pretty good. I didn't really enjoy this. I don't know. Like, they had a good match, but, you know, you had the Authority come out, and then to help Orton again, and then, I don't know, just not a clean ending, which I would have liked. Like, the past couple pay-per-views, there hasn't been clean endings since, like, SummerSlam. Every match since has not been a clean ending. Night of Champions, no. I think Over the Limit was after that. No, not... Shit, I don't remember what happened after that. But then it was Hell in a Cell. And then it's just been like, all finishes have just sucked. And anyways, after the match, Cena and Orton face off with their titles in the ring. Hint, hint. Unification match, as we've come to find out. But it's probably a pretty good way to end the show. If I watched it then, like if I watched it around that time and not like a couple months later, it probably would have been really interesting. But we'll talk about that in a second. The whole unification thing, and is it a good idea? Is it not? We'll just wait. But Survivor Series as a whole, it was a pretty good pay-per-view. It was a bit of a letdown for their big show, but you had some good matches on there. Del Rio Cena, Punk Bryan versus the Wyatts, and the beginning match, the first match, the 5-on-5. Those are both good. Everything else was kind of blah to bad, and yeah, so that was Survivor Series. A bit of a letdown for a big pay-per-view, but that's that. Alright, next we got Raw. This is the Raw after Survivor Series. Of course, they officially announced that at TLC, it's going to be a TLC match, a TLC unification match between Randy Orton and John Cena. And yeah, let's talk about the unification thing a little bit. I like it. I like it and I don't like it. There's a couple things, like, with there being only one title now, and only one, main title that people are going to fight for, what's the main event scene going to look like? Because to me, my first thought upon hearing this was like, oh, there's only going to be one title? I guess it's going to be Cena and Orton for another year, then main eventing every pay-per-view for the title. That was like the first thought that popped in my head. And I'm like, that's going to be it, Now that there's only one title, I don't see Bryan getting a shot. I don't see Punk getting a shot. I don't see Ziggler getting a shot. Damian Sandow. Maybe Del Rio if they need a good heel to put up against a baby face. I think the world title picture is going to be pretty dim. I think it's going to be pretty... There's not going to be many rotating people. That's my first thing. Like, I don't think there's going to be a lot of different people swinging through that title division. I think it's just going to be like a couple of guys, and they're going to rotate in and out. I think it's going to be Cena's going to be in there a lot. Orton's going to be in there a lot. I'd like to see Daniel Bryan in there. Maybe even possibly at WrestleMania. That was my first thing. It's like, I think a lot of people that got opportunities before at the world title, not so much the WWE title, aren't going to be getting world title shots anytime soon. I'd take Dolph Ziggler for an example, who is a world heavyweight champion. I don't see him getting a, whatever they're going to call the title, a WWE, I'll just call it the WWE title. I don't see him getting a WWE title shot anytime soon. Like, probably, I don't want to say never, but not in the immediate future. And yeah, so I think it's going to limit a lot of the talent that's going to be used. Now with Batista coming back, I don't know if he's coming back for a couple months, or is it going to be a long run, but, I could see him being in the title picture. Like, if you're not considered a big star, you're not going to be in the WWE title picture. Whereas, like, the world title used to be, like, to make people, it was used to make Bryan, it was used to make Ziggler, it was used to make, who else? It was used to make somebody else, I don't remember. But, it was used to kind of, like, the world title was kind of like the IC title used to be. Like, okay, you're the world heavyweight champion, but it's really like the IC championship, where, like, you're not the face of the company, but you're pretty up there. And that's what it would do. It'd kind of give people a good look at you. And now it's not going to be that. There's only going to be one look. And let's talk about the titles. What should they do with the titles now? So now that they only have one title, one WWE title, what about the rest of the titles? It's being rumored that the IC and US title is going to be unified at Elimination Chamber. I'm fine with that. I really don't like the US title. I think they should keep the IC title around. Get rid of the US title. There's really no need for it now. So have the WWE title, keep the IC title, keep the tag titles, the Divas title, and maybe bring in a few titles. Since they're taking away all these titles, there's going to be a lot more people doing nothing. And I don't want to say nothing, but not fighting for a title, which is what, like, every wrestler strives to be. They strive to be a champion. And now that there's going to be limited opportunities for that, I think they should introduce a couple of new titles for the WWE, and a couple titles. I've talked about this before. First is a hardcore title. I'd love to see the hardcore division come back, and maybe even a couple guys that used to be in the hardcore division. Maybe a Steve Blackman or a Hardcore Holly. I'd probably say Hardcore Holly. That'd be pretty cool to see him back. But now that they're bringing in all these guys that used to be pretty big stars, like Goldust came back, he's WWE Tag Team Champion. I know they recently brought in the, I was going to say the Road Dogs, But the New Age Outlaws, I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, bring the X Division title back, or not the X Division. What the fuck? The Hardcore title, and I think it'd make for some good matches on the show. It'd make for some funny backstage segments, especially since it can be defended 24/7. You could do some stuff for the YouTube channel, for the WWE app. Like, oh shit, did you see the WWE app? Hardcore champion Curtis Axel was attacked backstage by Booker T, and Booker T is now the Hardcore champion. And then Booker T gets attacked, and now the Hardcore champion is Renee Young. You know, just stuff like that. And I think it could make for a lot of fun moments and stuff, so that'd be cool. Next, and with the Hardcore title, it would encompass everybody. You know, guys from the main event to the bottom of the card, they could all be involved in the Hardcore division. Another title I had in mind was the TV title. You know, with WWE having so much TV, RAW, SmackDown, Superstars, main event, NXT, all this stuff, I think it'd be a good title. You know, they can defend it on every show like TNA used to do, but they only did that for like a couple months and then they stopped. But yeah, I think a TV title would be pretty interesting. And like I said, you could have that person on the show defend the title every episode, and I think that'd be pretty cool. And my other idea, so is the Hardcore Championship, the TV title, and the Cruiserweight title. I think it'd be pretty cool to bring that back, make for a more entertaining series of matches. Like, I remember when SmackDown used to really be its own thing, the Cruiserweights were definitely a standout of the SmackDown show. That's what made SmackDown special. Raw had the Hardcore division, SmackDown had Cruiserweights, and you know, you could only watch the Cruiserweights on SmackDown. Now, I wouldn't limit the Cruiserweights to just SmackDown, but I think it could add for some interesting matches. You know, throw Sin Cara in there, throw Kofi Kingston in there. Who else is kind of like a light heavyweight type wrestler? Possibly Dolph Ziggler. Xavier Woods can be in there. Evan Bourne if he ever comes back. Adrian Neville. What else? There's a bunch of guys they could throw in there, and I think it'd be pretty entertaining. And yeah, so those are 3 titles I think they should bring back. If you could decide, like, if they put a fan poll or whatever, and they let you decide if they were to bring back a title, what title would you bring back to the WWE division, or would you make a new title like the TV title? But, you know, for whatever you want. Let me know in the comments. And what do you think about the whole one WWE champion and all that kind of stuff? So, yeah, one WWE champion, soon to be one IC champion. Tag team titles, if they want, like, it's reported that the tag team wrestling is going to be a huge focus in 2014. Tag teams are going to be promoted very heavily. I like that a lot. I really wish they'd get new tag team titles, because if they really want to rise to prominence, the tag team division again, and make it successful, I think the titles are the first thing that need to change. I mean, you look at those titles, they're bronze. That means they're less than like the WWE title, which is made of gold. And I just think if it's not gold, it's not really a title people should care about. You know what I'm saying? Like, you look at the Divas title. It's fucking silver and pink. Now, granted, that's more for, like, you know, selling Divas championships or whatever, but I don't think that's a really hot thing to be selling. But, yeah, I think they should really get some new tag team titles, and I think that's the first step into making a better tag team division. Just my opinion. What else? So we had that. Oh, we had Miz TV. So the guest of Raw was Michael Strahan. He does a show called Kelly and Michael. It used to be Regis and Kelly, but Regis is gone and whatever. And this was kind of just a dumb segment. I thought it was kind of weird that they got Titus O'Neil involved. Like, of all fucking people, Titus O'Neil just randomly involved in this. But, I don't know, I didn't really like it was an okay segment. It seemed more like a skit type thing. Because at the end they were all like, "Oh, thank you for watching," and it just kind of seemed like a skit. And I don't know, it just wasn't that enjoyable. What else do we have? Oh, Punk and Bryan versus the Wyatt families in a handicap match. Good match. Punk and Bryan win by DQ. After the match, the Wyatts kidnap Bryan and the Shield attacks Punk. So that's whatever. You know, the whole Wyatts and Daniel Bryan thing, I think it's come to an end now. You know, recently we had Daniel Bryan join the Wyatts, and then he recently turned on Bray. And I kind of keep up with stuff that's going on TV, not too much because I don't want it to ruin what I'm going to see. But, yeah, I keep up with the big stuff. So, yeah, eventually Bryan's going to join the Wyatts here. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, yeah, I want to go back to Survivor Series for a second. So, the whole Big Show and Randy Orton thing, I thought it was stupid, right? Like, why are they having a match? And isn't the match that they're all building up to, excuse me, isn't the match that they're building up to Triple H versus Big Show? Like, isn't that the big money match that you've been promoting? Isn't, like, Triple H been threatening Big Show, made him cry all those times and blah, blah, blah. And then it just seems like, oh, Angle's done. Like, now they're going to move on to Cena and Orton. I just think that's so stupid that they're completely forgetting about Triple H and Big Show. Now, granted, I would have really not liked to see that. I think if Triple H is going to come back for a big match, that it shouldn't be against the Big Show. It should be a guy like like Daniel Bryan. I thought Daniel Bryan versus Triple H, that could have been pretty good. And yeah, but they're not going to do that, and I don't know. It's whatever. So yeah, Big Show and what's his face? Orton, that's over with. Now it's Cena and Cena and Orton. So yeah, I just want to talk about that. Like they're not even going for the Triple H Big Show thing anymore. Like, this is the feud that they've built the whole time. Like, this is what they've been hyping up and blah blah blah. And and now they're not gonna do anything with it. So that's kind of ridiculous on their part. What else do we got? I think that's it for Raw that I wanted to talk about. Yeah. Next we got NXT. What do I want to talk about here? Oh, Antonio Cesaro versus Yoshitatsu. Blah match. Before the match, Cesaro was threatening Byron Saxton until William Regal made the save. I wonder what that's going to lead to. Well, it's definitely going to lead to a match. But it just seems kind of random. Like, boom, Regal and Antonio. Like, I don't know. It's going to be a good match. I'm excited to see it. I mean, last time we saw Regal, he took on what's his face, Chris Hero, Cash Sono, and that ended up being a good match. So I'm super excited about Antonio. But it just seems kind of random to me. So that was that. Next we had Hunico and Camacho versus the Ascension, and they actually beat the Ascension, which is pretty crazy. I don't know why, but every time I see Hunico and Camacho, I like them even more. I don't know what it is, but I don't know, there's something about them that I like a lot. But now we're not going to have Hunico anymore, because now Hunico's Sin Cara, and that's kind of sad. So I guess Hunico and Camacho are breaking up, or maybe he's going to do double duty. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. But the main event was Adrian Neville versus Sami Zayn. They had a good match. Neville wins, and he'll get a title match against Bo Dallas on the next episode of NXT, which we'll review next on the next episode. So that's it for NXT. Next we got Impact. This was the whole Thanksgiving edition. There's a couple things I want to talk about, because fuck TNA. You know what? Let's bring it up right now. Bobby Roode had to lead a team against Team Angle, and I don't know why TNA does this, where they're like, we have to copy WWE. We're gonna have our own 4-on-4 elimination match. Now, granted, it wasn't a 5-on-5, but you know, it's a Survivor Series type match. It's like, why the fuck are you doing this? You doing it just because WWE did it? It's like, it's so stupid. I just thought it makes TNA just look shitty. So that was that. It was Chris Sabin, Bobby Roode, and Bad Influence versus Gunner, Storm, Magnus, and Kurt Angle. Good match. Roode wins, and yeah, I just hate the fact that they did it like copying TNA or copying WWE. But anyways, that was like near the end of the show. Let's go back to the beginning. So Dixie's like, all the winners are gonna have a chicken dinner. Winner, winner, turkey dinner. That's what it's called. Winner, winner, turkey dinner. Whatever. Next, they introduced Rockstar Spud. This is where he made his debut, and he is now gonna be her chief of staff. Going into, you know, this whole new feud. I think it's interesting, you know, Rockstar Spud. I think he fits that whole, like, that servant type role. Like, he's a weasel, that's what he is. And, God, he is fucking short as shit. Like, holy shit, I think my cousins are taller than him. They're like 10. And, God, he is just so fucking short. I don't know. I can't see him being a very big wrestler in TNA, no pun intended. But, like, getting up there, I just don't see it. Yeah, I don't. I hope he doesn't wrestle. That's all I'm going to say. I hope he doesn't wrestle. What else? Next we had EC3 brings out his opponents. You know, of course, last time he had Shark Boy. This time he brings out Curry Man. And he goddamn squashed my Curry Man. You know, it's so good to see Curry Man. I love Curry Man. He's one of my favorite characters in TNA ever. And I wish they'd bring him back. But that'd be more work for Christopher Daniels. So, whatever. You know, he's doing his thing with Bad Influence. But, yeah, I don't know. I guess they have really big plans for EC3 if they're gonna be doing, like, if they're gonna bring in Shark Boy just for Ethan Carter to beat him, then you know they gotta have some big plans for Ethan Carter. He's got a big push in line coming, and if they're gonna bring in Curry Man, now I'm not saying Curry Man's a big deal, even though he is, but for them to bring him back just to get beat, then they got some big plans for Ethan Carter. And, you know, I'm glad to say that Ethan Carter, I think I talked about this last time, I don't remember, so I'll just talk about it again. Sorry if I did. Ethan Carter is the man. I really, really had my hesitations about this whole angle. I thought he was going to be terrible, because the Derek Bateman that I knew was just this funny guy. I'm like, you know, he tried to be serious and it didn't work very well. And now he does a little bit of the serious and a little bit of the comedy. There's a little bit of comedy in his seriousness, but I think it works well. It just makes him a cocky heel, and I think it works very well. And I really like that. I really like the whole Ethan Carter character. I like that. I don't know, I like it. I'm going to stop talking about him, but I like it. I like it a lot, and I can't wait to see more. I can't wait to see what they have planned for him. I really think what Dixie should do, like, be like, oh, Ethan, you know, you're my nephew, you've been impressing me very much, and I'll do a Dixie Carter accent, I guess. And Ethan, I love you. You are a star, so we are going to give you the TNA TV title, darling, and you are going to be TNA TV champion. And I think that'd give him more heat, because, like, oh, you know, just because he's the nephew of Dixie Carter, he's automatically awarded a title, and I think that should be good. I think that should be the next step for Ethan Carter, because, like, he's not going to challenge Magnus for the world title since they're part of the same thing. He's not going to go after the X Division title. He's not going to go after the Knockouts. You know, he's got the briefcase for the tag team titles, I think. I think so. Yeah, I think he won it. And I think he still has that. We'll have to wait and see what he does with that. But I think TV title, give it to him and let him run with it. But, yeah, there's that. Next, we got the return of Zima Ion. He made his first appearance as DJ Zima Ion. and he's going to be with the Bromans. He's going to be their DJ when they come out. It's so annoying, but it's so funny. So yeah, DJ Zima Ion with the Bromans. I like it a lot. I like Zima Ion. You know, I think he recently had some health issues, which kept him off TNA for a bit. That or they didn't know what to do with him. And, I don't know, I like the direction TNA is going in. Like, they got all these guys. Everyone's pretty much doing something. Like, you know, they had Rockstar Spud under developmental contract, and then they just found something for him to do, be Dixie's assistant. You know, same thing with Lady Tapa. Now she's with Gail Kim. Samuel Shaw, they got the whole serial killer thing. Zima Ion brought back as a DJ. That's cool. Kenny King is someone I'd like them to bring back and possibly do something with, but I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, DJ Zima Ion. I just had to do it one more time. I'm sorry. Alright, next we got the Aces and Eights funeral. It was pretty good. It was pretty funny. It reminded me a lot of the funeral that TNA did a long time ago for Team 3D. When Team 3D came in, they had this whole faction. It was Jeff Jarrett, America's Most Wanted, Gail Kim, Team Canada, and I think there was somebody else. Abyss was there. And they had this funeral for Team 3D, and they, you know, whatever, is a big segment. And I got that same vibe from the Aces and Eights funeral. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was funny and had some good moments. Samoa Joe, Kurt Angle, Magnus Anderson, Eric Young, and Mike Tenay were there. Samoa Joe probably had the best part, where he's like handing out beers, and he was gonna hand one out to Angle, and he's like, you know what, that's not a very good idea, and he took it away, and they're like, that was hilarious, because if you know of Kurt Angle's recent troubles with alcohol and whatever, and I just thought it was a fun poke at him. I thought it was hilarious, but yeah, I really actually laughed out loud at that one. I thought it was fucking hilarious. And to end the show, or to end the segment, Bully Ray appeared, and he talked about Mr. Anderson's wife, and I think that was about it. But yeah, I think that was it. But yeah, no more Aces and Eights. Thank fucking God, that shit is over. But we'll talk about this on the next episode, because it does pertain to Aces and Eights and all that kind of stuff. Just with the whole faction thing, just TNA loves fucking factions. And they love these powerful factions that control TNA, and then a group of baby faces need to come together and save the company and blah 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 blah. This has been the same shit that's been going on for like 5 years straight. They had Main Event Mafia, they had Immortal, they had Fortune, they had the ECW group, they had, well, ECW wasn't heels, but you get what I'm saying. They had Jeff Jarrett, America's Most Wanted, Team Canada, all that stuff. They had, I think I said Main Event Mafia already, they had Aces and Eights. TNA just loves the fucking faction stuff. And I think they love it because it's so easy to do. Like, it's such easy booking. You know, you have your world champion, you put him up against all these challengers, and then eventually someone slays the beast that is the big, powerful group. But, you know, they have one now. They have the Roode Brood, not the Roode Brood, my bad. Ego with Bad Influence and Bobby Roode. They have another faction forming with Dixie Carter and Magnus and Rockstar Spud and Ethan Carter III. And, it's just kind of the same regurgitated stuff where it's like another faction, another faction, another power faction, another power faction. Oh, here comes the baby faces. Save the day, and then blah blah blah, take down the evil, powerful faction. It's just the same shit over and over again, and I wish TNA would deviate away from it, but they don't. So that's that. So to end the show, they had the big turkey dinner. So all the people that won their matches were there. They talk about what they're thankful for. Eventually, a huge brawl breaks out where the baby faces come out and ruin the heels' turkey dinner meal. And And yeah, that was the show. Next we have SmackDown. There's just one, actually there's a couple things I want to talk about on SmackDown. First was the Brodus Clay heel turn. This is where he kind of turned heel. You know, he pushed Xavier Woods in the back, in the backstage, calling him a rookie and like he's a main eventer and all that stuff, and how he took the Funkadactyls. We skipped that part on Raw, but yeah, Funkadactyls were with Xavier Woods for his match on Raw against Heath Slater. Beat him, blah blah blah. Brodus got offended, whatever. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting. Heel Brodus Clay. I think people have been waiting for this for a while, ever since Funkasaurus appeared, where we thought this big angry Brodus Clay was gonna appear, and he didn't. And I wonder what they're gonna do, since they're calling him the main eventer, or he's referring himself to as a main eventer, but he's never main evented anything. I just wonder what they're gonna do with that. Next we had the whole turkey thing, where Titus O'Neil was throwing up everywhere. That was stupid as shit. That was just terrible TV. But we're not gonna talk about that. We are gonna talk about the main event. Huge main event. The last couple matches on the SmackDown were crazy. This was the Thanksgiving SmackDown, and the end of the show was just nuts. So it went from Cody Rhodes and Goldust defending their WWE Tag Team titles against the Shield. They had a really good match. They had a really good, long, and really good match. And Cody and Goldust win by DQ after Dean Ambrose gets involved. Punk comes out, makes the save. It turns into a 6-man, so it's the Shield versus Punk, Cody, and Goldust. That was a good match until the Wyatts get involved, and then Usos and Rey Mysterio get involved, and it turns into a huge 12-man tag, and then that was even a good match too. This last segment went on for like over 40 minutes, and there was like 3 matches, and it was just a crazy way to end SmackDown. Like I said, they didn't end it with Orton and Cena or whatever. They ended it with Punk and the Wyatts and the Shield and the tag teams. So that's really cool to see. Next we got Ring of Honor. They showed matches from Ring of Honor Pursuit Night 1. So if you didn't see that show, you can check it out there. One thing I'd like to say, it's cool to see Zach Gowen again. He wrestled against Matt Taven for the TV title. And they had a decent little match. I enjoyed it a lot. And Steve Corino made some hilarious jokes about Zach Gowen. Some pretty tasteless ones, but they were funny as shit. I love Steve Corino on commentary. The dude is amazing. Probably one of my favorite commentators ever. At least color guys. Color commentators. So yeah, that was that. Next we got 2 episodes of Total Divas I want to talk about. So let's talk about the whole Eva Marie thing. So of course Eva Marie is a very talented wrestler. And then she's like, well, she didn't say this, but they're like, you're doing good as a wrestler, but we want you to try announcing. Maybe you're really good at that. And she's like, oh, that sounds sweet, an opportunity. Turns out it's the hardest fucking job to do. So she panics and is struggling to retain basic information. All you have to remember is the person's name, weight, and where they're from. That's it. And she's like, can I cheat? I really want to cheat. Can I write on my arm? I'm like, dude, are you fucking kidding me? You have an opportunity and you're saying, can I cheat? What? So yeah, anyway, she actually announces a match. It was 3MB versus Justin Gabriel and the Usos, I think. So she does the announcing, and she ends up freezing, and she forgets to mention Jinder Mahal. And then backstage, he puts her in check and is like, hey, you're a newbie here. You fucking learn all the names of the veterans, and you show us some goddamn respect. Now, he didn't do it like that. It was pretty similar. But he was fucking pissed. Like, he was pissed. I don't know why he's pissed, because it's Superstars, and no one's gonna watch Superstars, so it's kind of like it never happened. But I can see why he's upset. So, that was that. I love the fact that, that he fucking yelled at her. The worst part about this is, like, she's getting yelled at, and then they walk away, and she's like, at least I didn't cheat. Like, she was so proud of herself that she didn't cheat. And I'm just like, oh my god, you're unbelievable. Stop. Get out of my fucking business. Literally, get out of the wrestling business. Shit, you don't belong here. What else? Oh, Nikki Bella was moving in with Cena. During the move, her toothbrushes go off. It was actually her dildos and vibrators and all that shit start buzzing around. And Cena's like, damn, your toothbrush has a lot of speeds. And Cena's the best. I fucking love Cena. He is so fucking hilarious. One of my favorite parts about Total Divas. Whenever he's on and Cena's there, he's usually the best part of the show. And then he had, this was at around SummerSlam time where he had the tricep injury, and they showed some of the surgery, and when they cut open his arm and the blood squirted everywhere and it squirted on the doctor's face. It's kind of gross. But later in the episode, excuse me, I'm fucking coming down with a cold. Nikki moves in and Cena gives her a contract, basically saying, you know, this is all my stuff. If we break up, you don't get shit. And you are a guest in the house. I am the owner, and you have to do what I say when I say it. And she gets really offended. She leaves. That leads into the second episode. So yeah, so she's like calling people like, oh man, I have this contract. I don't know if it's going to work out with me and Cena, blah, blah, blah. And I love how she contemplates that, that like she's going to break up with Cena. And like, oh, you know, I don't know if we're going to fucking break, I don't know if we're going to be together, blah, blah, blah. Treat me like a guest. And I'm like, you act like the hugest gold digger ever. You're acting like you're going to break up. You're going to break up with one of the richest guys. I don't know how rich he is, but like he's pretty fucking wealthy. I was gonna say one of the richest people in the world. I don't think he's that rich. He is very wealthy. I don't know how wealthy though. But for her to say, "Oh yeah, I don't know if it's gonna work out. I might leave him," and like, no, you wouldn't. No, you fucking wouldn't. He's got lots of money. You come off as a gold digging whore, and yeah, so. I just thought it was funny, they're like, oh, we might break up because, I don't know, yeah, whatever. And then, whatever, later on they go for dinner and they talk about the contract, and Cena's like, hey, I make a lot of money, and I support a lot of people in my life. That contract is to guarantee that I don't get fucked over from supporting my loved ones. Because, like, he supports all these people on his family. You know, one of his brothers is, like, some issues, medical issues, and he takes care of that, and he buys stuff for them, and he's a financial supporter for his family, and like, yeah, and she's like, oh man, I'm so stupid, I can't believe, you know, I was offended by this and whatever. It's like, yeah, you know, he makes a lot of fucking money, he's gonna cover his ass, because, you know, I don't know how, she didn't even think of that, like, I don't know. That's the first thing I honestly thought about with Cena. I'm like, he makes a lot of money, probably supports a lot of his family with that money, and he doesn't want to jeopardize that. And then come to find out that's what actually happened, and it's like, yeah, no shit. You know, he's a great guy, and he has a lot of people counting on him. And you know, if he were to get put in jeopardy by that, by not having that contract in place, then he gets fucked over, and he can't do. He can't take care of his family, which is something he wants to do. What else? This is actually a pretty good, this is an interesting episode. So after the whole, you know, Nikki and Cena thing, we had, actually, I'm going to save that, we're going to save that for last, Cameron and Vinny, because they were very interesting this episode. So next we had Brie Bella. She gets angry about Daniel Bryan. Like, oh, you're so busy, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, she's like, you don't never have any time for me. And he's like, yo, I'm the face of the company, and, like, what do you want me to do? And then Nikki's like, hey, you're a total bitch, okay? Like, he's a very busy guy. You have to give him his goddamn space. And, you know, don't you want to be happy for him? And then she's like, oh, yeah, you're right. I guess I'm being a total cunt. And I really should respect Bryan because, you know, he's a superstar and this is his dream. And he always wanted to be the face of the company. And I'm going to be less of a bitch. So, that was that. Next, we got Eva Marie. She's like, oh, since announcing's not going to work out, I better become a better wrestler. And she starts to train with Tyson Kidd. Natalia gets jealous. And then Natalia gets jealous, gets Fandango to wrestle with her, and to try and make Tyson jealous. And he gets jealous, and I love the fucking line. Like, see you later, Fandango. I hope we don't have to work soon. And I thought that line was hilarious. He's gonna fucking stiff him and stretch him. That would be awesome. And yeah, later they make up, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And last but not least, the best part about the show, the most awkward, this was probably the most awkward stuff to watch, the whole Cameron and Vinny stuff. So Vinny wants to have sex, but Cameron has endometriosis or something like that. Basically, she has really bad cramps, and sex is very painful for her. And, God, it was so fucking awkward. She went to the gynecologist, and it was like, oh my God. And then they went to a sex therapist, and it was like, oh my God, and she's asking all these questions, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is so fucking awkward to watch. I can't imagine being in that situation. Like, Cameron, how often do you masturbate? And all these fucking weird-ass questions. And later they buy sex toys, and they have a happy ending. So that's very happy for them. They had a good night. And that was Total Divas. Great show. I love watching it. It's very addicting. And yeah, sadly, there's only a couple more episodes left, and then we have to wait for Season 2. But I can't wait to see what comes out of that. Again, in all these episodes, on the second half of Season 1, JoJo is nowhere to be seen. She is not even relevant to any of the things going on in the show. She doesn't have any big stories or things going on with her. And honestly makes me wonder why she is still on the show, still with the company. That's just me. There's no wrestling news this week. A lot of the wrestling news, the big stories going around at this time was the American Wolves going to WWE. We'll talk about that on the next episode of Weekly Wrestling Review, where I think they actually wrestled in NXT. But as we all know now, they are now a part of TNA, and the whole big investor storyline. Like I said, we'll talk about that very soon. The whole AJ Styles TNA stuff, the contract, and the TNA sale, because there's rumors that TNA was going to be sold to somebody, and all that kind of stuff. So that was going around at that time, and yeah. So those were the big storylines, or not the big stories, the big news stories for wrestling around that time. But as we know, TNA didn't get sold, the American Wolves didn't go to WWE, and AJ Styles didn't go back to TNA. So yeah, there's really not much to talk about. So that's going to be it for the Weekly Wrestling Review. I hope you guys enjoyed. Come back next time where we're going to have reviews for Final Battle, TNA One Night Only World Cup. I'm actually looking forward to this. It actually looks pretty interesting. And 2 weeks worth of RAW, SmackDown, Impact, NXT, and Ring of Honor. Hopefully some wrestling news. On the next episode, I'm probably going to give my predictions for the Royal Rumble. I'm going to try and get the next episode out ASAP. So I can get my predictions for the Royal Rumble off. I might even have a review for the newest shoot interview I watched. So High Spots recently released an interview with AJ Styles talking about his time in TNA. It's called Leaving an Impact. I watched it last night. It was fucking great. But I'm not feeling very well, so I'm not going to do a review right now. I'm going to try and do it on the next episode. And yeah, we'll do a review for AJ Styles Leaving an Impact. And yeah, so that's about it. I want to thank you guys for watching. I am sorry if I sound very bad. I have a really stuffy nose and my throat's killing me. And that's about it. I want to thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Catch me next time. Until then, guys, peace out.